Well, a very good afternoon and welcome to Poland for the ICF Canoe Sprint and Paracanoe World Cup. I'm Mally Johnson and I'm delighted to take you through this afternoon's action. It's been a big delay here in Poznan with some really strong wind and very difficult conditions for these paddlers. But thankfully the winds have calmed just a little and we're able to get the racing underway, which is why the paddlers are here. They can't wait to get started here at this famous canoeing venue. So there we are, you can see the Malta regatta course ahead of you in Poznan, Poland. Now Poznan's about halfway between Berlin and Warsaw on the train, and a delightful city it is too, that though it has been battered by the wind over the last 48 hours or so. You can see their temperature a lot cooler than it was in the Czech Republic last weekend, just 13 degrees. Water's a little bit warmer than that, but it's the wind that's caused all the problems. We're down to 3.1 meters per second, but earlier today and yesterday afternoon you could have doubled that. Really difficult for the paddlers, difficult for the organisers here, but they've done a fantastic job of postponing events. We haven't lost too many events. We're keeping most of them in the programme. What you've got to look forward to this afternoon are a lot of semi-finals. VL3 we're starting with, but we have the K1 in the men, followed by the women over 200 metres. We'll stick with 200 metres with some of the Paracanoe races, and then we'll be moving on to the 500 metres semi-finals for the K1 men. Back down to the 200 again, and that will be for the C1 women, and we'll finish off what will be 10 Paracanoe finals. So a lot of Paracanoe finals to look forward to, of course. They weren't racing last weekend in the World Cup in the Czech Republic in Račice, so it'll be great to see them getting on the water for the first time for some international competition for the Paracanoe athletes. For many, first time since the Tokyo Paralympics. But we'll also have some of the men's kayak and women's kayak. We'll start with the VL3, the Vars, as they're known. The Vars, we're starting with the VL3 men 200 metres semi-final, and then we will see that final a little bit later on this evening. So, the lineup there, we've got Australia, Poland, Indonesia, Argentina, France, Spain, Poland again, Chile, and Australia. And we can see the Vars there just approaching the start. All the Paralympic events go over 200 metres. So really is rapid paddling strokes here that we'll see from these paddlers. We'll take you through the lineup in just a second as they prepare themselves for the start. Due to get underway in around about 3 minutes' time. So VL3 for the men. So these are the Vars. In Paracanoe, paddlers compete in kayaks and in Vars. You can see Var with an outrigger on the side of their boat. No world champion here, that's Jack Ayres from Great Britain. Great Britain sending a development team here to Poznan. The rest of the team are at home in Nottingham in much calmer waters, preparing themselves for the World Championships, which will take place in Halifax in Canada later on in the season. So this has been the challenge for many of the paddlers in the poor conditions, of course, just lining themselves up, getting themselves in the right position for the start. Thankfully, as I say, things are a lot better than they were. And we will see Mark Daniels in lane 1. So lane 1 will be the furthest away from you. He's the Australian paddler. Then Tomasz Modziewski from Poland in 2. Jaideep from Indonesia goes in 3. Nicholas Esteban Crosta from Argentina in 4. In 5 is Eddie Podovan from France, equal 4th at the World Championships in Copenhagen back in September. Javier Rea from Spain goes in 6. Robert Wadera from Poland in 7. Franco Guterres from Chile in 8. And John McLean from Australia goes in 9. So the semi-final of the VL3 men. We're underway there. Great start from lane 6. That's the Spaniard Javier Reja, really getting underway on that first stroke. So important, the first stroke, given that this is only 200 metres, where we'll be around about, depending of course on the conditions, but around about 50 seconds. The wind goes with the paddlers, so although that can be difficult to deal with, it does make the times quick. And you can see there, Eddie Podovan, the Frenchman, as I say, was so close to the medals. 4th place in Copenhagen at the World Championships. He's got away well. No Curtis McGrath, of course, the legendary Australian that is the Paralympic champion. And this is an opportunity for these paddlers to duke it out without him. And we've got about 6 paddlers across here, all vying for the top 3 places that will take them through to the final. Certainly 3, 4 and 5 looking good there. So Eddie Podovan, as expected. And quite possibly Nicholas Kroster. And maybe Jai Deep behind him. But no doubt, Eddie Podovan, the Frenchman, going through to the final. Hopefully, we'll get confirmation of the other 2 that will join him in the final very shortly. There we can see the start. It was that lane 6. Look at that. First onto the blade, but Eddie Podovan built through his race. He's the experienced paddler here. He had the speed and just looking controlled. He's keeping something in the tank there for the final. So Eddie Podovan, he's got about an hour to wait for his final. We will bring that to you live on Planet Canoe. Conditions notwithstanding, but it does look pretty good out there. Things have calmed, and we're very hopeful that tomorrow we'll be able to bring you a whole range of finals in the sprint canoe events. We're putting together what should have been this morning's finals tomorrow from 8 local time. But for now, this is about getting into the final for the VL3 men, and it is Eddie Podovan, 51.45. That's a quick time. He goes through. Joining him, Javier Rea and Nicholas Esteban Kroster. And we'll see that final in about an hour's time.
Lane 1, inland. Lane 2, China.
Well, just as the coaches get a little bit of a debrief there, we will head back up to the start of the 200 metres. And now it's the turn of the sprint kayakers. And this semi-final, the first semi-final in the K1 men 200 metres event. We'll see 3 semi-finals in this event. And it's a bit of a shame this no longer an Olympic distance, an Olympic discipline. It is an Olympic distance, I should say, for the C1 in the women. But this particular event no longer Olympic. Such a shame for the likes of Ed McKeever and Liam Heath, previous Olympic champions, and the current Olympic champion, Sander Tokka. Still, there's still a World Cup gold medal up for grabs. That's what these paddlers are aiming for. Now, these are good conditions, but remember, just a semi-final. It's about trying to get through the rounds here. It will be the first, second and third place will go through to final A, 4th to 6th to final B, and the rest out. Just to take you through the lineup as the paddlers come to the start, we've got furthest from your picture, Otto Sivula from Finland in lane 1. Zhang Quan from China goes in 2. He's in the white cap. In 3, Fletcher Armstrong, the young Australian, only 20 years old. In 4, Kristaps Lauber from Latvia. Badri Kaviashvili from Georgia goes in 5. Artus Seja, watch out for him, from Lithuania in 6. Nicholas Whitcomb is in 7. No one in lane 8. And Yang Sang-won from Korea goes in 9. So semi-final, the first semi-final of the K1 men 200 metres. And there's a good view from the Lithuanian. Expect him to go well. He was third in the K4 event in Račice last week, and he's making the best of this race. Looks like he's going to go through to the semi-final, but we'll have to wait and see over the last 50 metres or so if he manages to hold his form. Just easing up a little bit there. You can see lane 7, Nicholas Whitcomb. He's a bit of work to do, but it is between 8 and 6. Sorry, 6 and 5, I should say. The Lithuanian, Seja, and Kavelashvili, the Georgian. Certainly those two will go through, and then third place will join them.
93, K1 men, 200 meters, semi-final 2. 4 minutes to start, 4 minutes.
So Kavelashvili, well, he'll go through with a good lane draw. He's ranked 8th in the world, so he's no slouch over this distance. Not an easy job to do, almost at maximum over 200 meters. Difficult in these wavy conditions, as you can see. It was the Lithuanian who got away to the best start, Arturas Seja. As I say, very experienced both in K4 and in his K1. And he'll be looking forward to tomorrow's finals. So quick recap on the start. It's all about getting the weight onto that blade. You see lane 5, very vertical blade. Kavelashvili, which is short stroke, but it was enough for him. So 6 and 5 go through, and very close. Maybe third place being the Australian Fletcher Armstrong. Lunges for the line there. Perhaps just getting his nose ahead of the Chinese paddler Zhang Quan, but we'll have to wait for confirmation of that. Very shortly we'll be going back up to the start for the second of 3 semi-finals in this men's K1 200 metre event.
Line 7, Israel, come to the starting area, please.
Well, there's a Lithuanian on the pontoon, perhaps waiting for an interview. I'm afraid you're going to have to wait for the final for that and get into the top 3, but that's not beyond his capabilities. He's been there before in World Cups. He may well do it again. Arturas Seja. There we can see from our drone shot, the paddlers just preparing themselves before the start. They don't want to be the first in those starting boots. And these just the final, slightly nervous moments before the race begins, where paddlers are just thinking about their process, the first couple of strokes to get underway in this semi-final. So there's Christos Matsas, the Greek paddler. Good to see the Greek team here. He goes in lane 1. Carlos Boris Caldenti from Spain in 2. Then now there's confirmation. So confirmation of the previous race. Arturas Seja goes through. We knew that. Badri Kavelashvili. And joining him, Fletcher Armstrong. So start list now. Christos Matsas from Greece in 1. Carlos Boris Caldenti from Spain goes in 2. Nebojša Grujic from Serbia in 3. Now watch out for Dmitro Danielenko, the Ukrainian, who goes in lane 4. He's in picture there. World Championships in Copenhagen. First place in this event for him. And also, last weekend, he was a member of the K4 that took the silver medal over 500 metres. Kevin Santos, something of a specialist over 200 metres, the Portuguese paddler in lane 5. William Graveland from Denmark in 6. Stav Mizrahi from Israel in 7. Pedro Cassina from Portugal, the 19-year-old Portuguese paddler, goes in 8. And Guy Chunyu from China is in 9. Red boat, bottom of your picture. So second semi-final of the K1 men 200 metres. And goodness me, it'll be really interesting to see the Dane, William Graveland. He latched onto that stroke very early on, did Graveland, almost a false start, but they've let them go. So So as the camera pans out, we should get a good look now as we approach the halfway point. The red boys, 100 meters to go. Who's in pole position for this? Portuguese paddler Cassina in 8, going well. There's lane 5, Kevin Santos, also Portuguese. Looks like he's leading the way, so watch lane 5. We've got Santos there, crossing the line first. To his left is the Ukrainian, and then there's a battle for the 3rd place. So Kevin Santos, I'm expecting to go through. Well, Santos is now part of the Portuguese K4. Portuguese K4 second in the B final last weekend, so they'll be looking to improve on that. But alongside him, very experienced, Dimitro Danielenko, the Portuguese. Watch lane 6, he gets away to the start earliest. Not sure that gave him any advantage, and in fact in a black boat in the middle of the pitches, Kevin Santos wasn't the best starter. It's not just about the start, it's about maintaining that fast pace, and he stayed relaxed. That's what he did. Now let's just check the finish. Watch the Ukrainian in the blue boat, he takes 2nd, just coming up now, and then the 3rd place down towards the bottom of his picture. Well, 2 Portuguese will go through to the final because that's Pedro Cassina. Well done to him taking that 3rd place. So Portuguese pleased with that. They've got a good squad. Portugal did well last weekend in Račice in the Czech Republic, found themselves on the medal table, mainly thanks to Fernando Pimenta, who won both the K1000 and K2000, almost won the K1 5000. So certainly these paddlers have someone to look up to. So just a little bit of a breath of wind now. Just confirmation of the results. Santos goes through in 1st, Danielenko in 2nd, and Cassina takes 3rd place. Just 0.29 separating the top 3. It's that close in 200 meters. There you can see the finish tower. That's where I'm commentating from, on the 4th floor. You can also see that the wind has calmed considerably. So we're looking forward to the 3rd and final semi-final coming up shortly of the men's 200 meters. Remember, this no longer is an Olympic event. Such a shame we won't see this in Paris, in Versailles, in just 2 years' time. But we may well see some of these other paddlers in different events, quite possibly the K4 500 meters. So, yeah, as you saw there, we've got Singapore in lane 1, Denmark in 2, Slovenia in 3, Germany in 4, Sweden in 5, Sweden again in 6, Finland in 7, Hong Kong in 8, and Australia in 9. Really good spread of continents and of nations at this World Cup and at last weekend's World Cup, of course. Many of the paddlers, whether that be from Singapore, Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand, didn't compete in 2020 or 2021 at the World Cups. So it's been 3 years since they have been here on this international stage. So there's Ko Tek Wai from Singapore. Now we didn't see Lasse Bro Madsden. He's in 2. He should be in 2. Didn't look like him. In lane 3 is Vid Debalak from Slovenia. In 4 now, Jonas Drager is in 4. Huge competition for places in the Germans team, particularly for the men. They're all desperate to get into that K4 over 500 meters. There's Petter Menning. So Petter Menning working on a good K4, the Swedes, and really developing the other paddlers. But Petter's been around for a long, long time. European Championship bronze medalist last year. 6th in Tokyo, 2nd at the World Championships in this event last year. Petter Menning really knows the drill and expect him to come through well. Theodor Orban, his teammate to his right, also from Sweden in lane 6. Juna Mentinen from Finland in 7. So Pak Yin from Hong Kong goes in 8. And then Lachlan Armstrong from Australia in 9. third semi-final of the K1 men 200 metres. And we're underway. It's a clean start, a good start for Peter Menning. There's his teammate, Theodor Orban, just into his early 20s. Peter Menning, well, he's at the other end of his 20s, but still plenty of racing left in him. Looking really good, really very strong there, Peter Menning. Good upright style, really clean stroke through the water, and showing the others how to race over 200 metres. Look at that rotation. Paddlers over 1,000 metres will be pleased with that. He's really showing a good long stroke, so important. And no doubt that he is going to take the win there. Look to be Slovenia and Germany possibly joining him in the final, but we'll have to wait for confirmation of that. So Peter Menning looking really, really strong there. He's had a good winter, had his injury problems over the last few years, Peter Menning, but no news of that over the previous winter. Clearly he's in a good place, he's in good shape, and he'll be looking forward to tomorrow's final. So the start in 200 metres is very important to latch on to those first few shorter strokes, but this is where it really counts. So look at the drive. You can see him really get a hold of that water, driving the boat forward with all of his body, all of the muscles of his core and his legs. Let's just check the minor positions. Slovenian goes through in second. Ooh, and in fact, it may well be that we've got two Swedes in the final, because to me, it looked like Theodor Orban took the third place. So Menning, Debielak and Orban, they're my three, but we'll have to wait for confirmation of that. So we'll stay with the distance, we'll stay with the boat, but it will be the turn of the women very shortly in 3 semi-finals for K1 women's 200 metres. And it's been really interesting for these paddlers. They've had a lot of delays. We had to cancel some races. We won't see any B finals or C finals tomorrow, unfortunately, because we're just trying to fit everything in the program that we've missed. And paddlers have had to adapt and adjust. And it's important to remind ourselves this is an outdoor sport. This is what happens. It's a big lake, the Malta Lake. It's almost 500 meters wide. Not like Rachice last week, very narrow course surrounded by trees, kept the wind off. But it's very open here, and it has been windy. It's been difficult for these paddlers, but Menning, Debielak and Orban, they haven't been fazed by it, because they will go through to tomorrow's final in the 200 meters. As I say, it's been a real challenge. And I remember back to, someone can't spell Carrington very well there. I remember going back to the Olympic Games in Sydney in 2000, the last day where we had to have the 500 metre finals, and they simply had to run those events. It was windy, there were white horses on their ways, but they had to get on with it and adjust. And it was the paddlers who are best at adapting who succeeded, and it will be the same here. So we're looking forward to 3 semi-finals in the K1 women 200 metres. Esti Olivia will start in lane 1 of the first semi-final, the South African. Should see Anna van Hansen, I should say, in lane 2 from Denmark. No Emma Jorgensen here from Denmark. Olympic medalist over this distance. There's a teammate, just 20 years old, Anna Hansen. Romanian Malina Trifescu, she goes in lane 3. Romanians, remember, hosted many of the Ukrainian paddlers over the winter. They've been so welcoming to their Ukrainian colleagues and friends. Spela Janic goes in lane 4. Spela Janic having something of a renaissance, both the Slovenian paddlers, in fact. We'll see a teammate in just a moment. She was 3rd over this distance last weekend. Francisca Leia, she's got a good group in Portugal. Good over the 200 metre distances, Teresa Portela and Ioana Vasconcelos. Then we have Anja Osterman in lane 6, really enjoying the break after Tokyo, and resurgent in her training with the Slovakians recently. She was the winner last week in this event. We're underway there. We've got the Singapore athlete C. Angela in 7, Hilal Avci from Turkey in 8, and Yun Yenya from Korea in 9. Now let's have a look here. We should see the Slovenians going well over this distance. There it is. Anja Osterman, winner in this event, this non-Olympic event now last weekend. She's clearly in good form. She's been training in Slovakia. Things have been going really well for her. And she's enjoying it. And you can tell when paddlers are enjoying it. They're a little bit smoother, a little bit more relaxed. And a relaxed muscle is a powerful muscle. And we can see that now. So she's leading the way, just backing it down there. She knows she's going to go through. And not far behind her, Spela Janic, her teammate, and also Francisca Laia from Portugal. Same as the men, top 3 go through into tomorrow's final. But Anja Osterman, she won last weekend. She was second in the longer 500-metre distance last weekend, and she's won here in the semi-final. Just a little pause on the start from her, but she's experienced. She didn't let that phase her. And these 3 making their way through to the line. So Anja Osterman, followed by a teammate, Spela Janic, and Francisca Laia from Portugal, a long way ahead of the rest of the field. And they will resume that competition come the final tomorrow. And there's confirmation. So the obligatory glass of water, cup of water for Anja Osterman post-race, and no doubt she'll warm down, flush out the lactic from her system and prepare for tomorrow. We'll prepare for semi-final 2 of 3 in the K1 women 200 metres coming up shortly. USA, Singapore, China, Ukraine, Poland, Czech Republic, New Zealand and Slovakia in this one. So we'll just take you through the lineup. So top of your picture, that will be Emma McDonald, the 19-year-old from the United States. What's great about these paddlers from different continents, they can use a boat already bought by the manufacturer, Nello, to this venue. So not having to ship the boats over from the United States, which is very expensive. So Si Ying, Singapore athlete. We're delighted to welcome David Smith, who has been coaching the Singapore paddlers recently, with us on Planet Canoe last weekend. We hope to see him join us tomorrow as well in commentary. Then in lane 3, Zhang Qian from China. Anastasia Holova from Ukraine goes in 4. Helena Wisniewska from Poland, she'll be in 5. Now watch for her, because she was in that boat, that K4 in Tokyo that took the bronze medal. And at the European Championships over the 500-metre distance, she was 6th. So, really good paddler at the pole, and the poles have been going very well last weekend in Racice, and they know they're on the home water here. There she is, and she'll be pleased to be racing once again in Poznan. They had the European Championships, as I say, here last year, where she was 6th in the K1 500. Aniska Paladova from the Czech Republic, she goes in 6. Olivia Brett from New Zealand, we'll see in just a moment. There she is, 21 years old, Olivia Brett. There's a new breed of female paddlers coming out of New Zealand, and they've no better mentor to learn from than Lisa Carrington. Then next to her will be Katarina Peksova from Slovakia, only 19 years old. So we've got a number of very young paddlers in this. I'm expecting Wisniewska, watch her in lane 5. This, the second of the K1 women 200 metre semi-finals. So not a great start from Wisniewska, the Pole. I was expecting her to go well, but, well, she didn't look on it over the first few strokes. But this is 200 metres, so we'll see if she's got it going there. She's looking really good now, really focused, nice long stroke, very smooth. You can see underneath that spread X, she's driving, she's pumping those legs. Looks like she's just got the edge now as we approach the business end of the race. Top three, remember, will go through to the final. She's keeping that stroke long. She's maintaining the rotation, and she's beginning to pull away just a little bit from her competitors. Haulover still in there, the Ukrainian. One lane to her left. And it looked like the Ukrainian and the Chinese will take second and third place. But from not a great start, Wisniewska used all her experience, bronze medalist, remember, in K4 from Tokyo, to come through. And we do see that in 200 metres. A little shake of her head. Probably she acknowledged there that it wasn't a great start. But that's the sign of an experienced paddler, isn't it? To be able to come back from what wasn't a great start. She got left on the first couple of strokes, you can see there. But she didn't panic. She kept it calm. She knew what she had to do. Maintain the length of the stroke, maintain the rhythm, really get a grip, dig the paddle deep into that water, and make each stroke count, and she did that. And then we've got the Ukrainian in the white boat, just above her, and just above her, Chinese paddler Zhang Quan. And that will be the three that go through to tomorrow's final. It's going to be a busy day tomorrow. We'll be starting from 8 o'clock local time with the 500 metres. But this race won't take place until later on in the morning.
3 minutes. Please come to the starting area. Please come to the starting area.
And there's confirmation, Poland, Ukraine and China going through into tomorrow's final. So semi-final 3, the third and final semi-final for K1 women over 200 metres. Coming up very shortly. We'll have Tara Vaughan in lane 2 from New Zealand. Zeljana Petrovic from Serbia goes in 3. Georgia Sinclair from Australia in 4. Marta Valchikevich, the experienced Pole, in 5. Pernille Knudsen from Denmark in 6. Yuri Urada from Japan in 7. Madara Aldina from Latvia in 8, and Kali Wilding from the USA in 9. There's Tara Vaughan, she's 19 years old. Look at the smile on her face. That's very refreshing, isn't it, just to see. She's clearly enjoying herself on the world stage here. Zeljana Petrovic. Now, she's been a finalist in World Cups in K2. She was junior European champion just 3 years ago, so someone to watch for the future, the 20-year-old from Serbia. Georgia Sinclair, also in her early 20s. The Australian goes in 4. Then Marta Valchikevich. She would have been a multi-Olympic and World Championship gold medalist had it not been for Lisa Carrington. But she is the Rio 16 silver medalist over this distance. She's a silver medalist at the World Championships, and whenever Lisa Carrington wasn't there, like the European Championships, she's been the champion. Maybe there's just a little bit of a changing of the guard in the Polish camp, though, with the women. Marta Valchikevich trying to keep hold of her crown. So Pernille Knudsen from Denmark in 6, Yuri Urada from Japan in 7, there she is. Madara Aldina from Latvia goes in 8, and then Kali Wilding from USA in 9. There she is. So semi-final 3 of the K1 women 200 metres about to get underway. Paddles up in a good clean start there from all the paddlers. Look to be like the Polish boat in lane 5. There's no surprise there. Marta Walczykiewicz, she loves paddling on her home water here in Poznan. Spends a lot of the summer training here, as well as in Wałcz, the Olympic training centre just north on the way to Gdansk. She knows it well, and she's got off to a blistering start. She has absolutely punished the other paddlers here, dominating this race. Gets so much rotation out of those legs. Really whizzing round on the stroke. She's had a quick look round to her right to check there's nobody there, but Marta, there isn't. You're the class act in this race. So Marta Walczykiewicz will go through, but who's going to be second? Perhaps the Australian, maybe the Dane in third. Certainly looks like Georgia Sinclair took second place, but we'll have to wait for confirmation of if it was Pernille Knudsen from lane 6 in third. Knudsen, of course, very good over all distances, good marathon paddler, good 200-metre paddler, but also a World Championship bronze medalist last year over 1,000 metres, so very versatile. So watch the start, paddle up. Yeah, just steady, nicely away from Marta Walczykiewicz. No panic, but it was in that middle section of the race. She really pulled away from the rest of the paddlers, and there was nothing they could do to pull her back. There you go, she's got a boat length over everybody else. We will check on this slow-mo for second and third. Top of the picture, Tara Vaughan going well with New Zealand there. There's Australia, and then third place, yep, it is the Dane. Unfortunately, this time the young New Zealander Tara Vaughan misses out, but I'm sure we're going to be seeing more of her in the future. And there's confirmation, 41 for Marta Walczykiewicz, Georgia Sinclair in second, and Pernille Knudsen in third. So we should have Slovenia, Portugal, Slovenia, China, Ukraine, Poland, Australia and Denmark in tomorrow's final of the K1 Women 200 metres. Well, thanks for joining me on Planet Canoe. I'm Mally Johnson. You join me here in Poznan, in Poland. There's been a bit of a change to the programme. We've crammed a load of races in this afternoon and this evening. We've had a lot of semi-finals. We now go back to finals. We've got both sprint canoe and paracanoe. We're now heading to the 200-metre start for the final in the KL Women event. That's the kayak for the paracanoe. There's the VAR and there is the kayak. So we'll see that. We're on the Malta course here in Poznan. It's a beautiful town, Poznan, and this is a popular venue. They've built a brand new 50-metre swimming pool on the course. There's a ski slope on the course. There's a toboggan, plenty of room for cycling and running. It's a lovely spot, just that it has been windy over these last couple of days. Thankfully that's calmed down. We're underway with racing again, and we'll be bringing you a lot of finals. We'll be packed full of finals, from everything from 200 metres to 5,000 metres throughout the day tomorrow, starting at 8 o'clock local time and finishing around about 4:30. I do hope you'll be able to join me on Planet Canoe for that. Well, we're going to get underway with the KL1 Women 200-metre final very shortly. These kayaks, same length as the kayaks for the sprint, 520 centimetres, 50 centimetres wide, minimum weight of 12 kilos. Now, competitors in this event have limited or no trunk function and no leg balance. World champion is Marina Matsula, and we'll see her in lane 5. Paralympic champion, I should say, is Edina Muller, and we'll see her in lane 4. So this should make for a really, really exciting race. Karolina Bronovic from Poland, 8th at the World Championships. She goes in lane 2. Erika Pulai from Hungary goes in 3. Edina Muller from Germany, the Paralympic champion. The World Championship silver medalist goes in 4. She's in the distinctive pink German boat. In lane 5, now this is the world champion who's the silver medalist in Tokyo, Mariana Matsula, the popular Ukrainian. In lane 6, Eleonora De Paulis, I should say, from Italy. And Brianna Hennessy from Canada goes in lane 7. So we should see just over 50 seconds for this. There's the Canadian Hennessy. This is the first Paracanoe, first and only Paracanoe World Cup of the season. An opportunity to race at the very highest level before some of these paddlers then prepare themselves for the World Championships in August in Halifax, Nova Scotia. We'll be bringing you that on Planet Canoe. The final of the KL1 Women 200 metres is underway. That familiar leaning forward style works so well for the Tokyo Paralympic champion Edina Muller. The determination on her face and the poise and balance in her stroke is outstanding. But Mariana Matsula's having none of it. She's really pushing on with that typical upright stroke, and they look pretty much stroke for stroke at the moment. Perhaps the best of the starts was from Edina Muller. And now, though, only halfway in this race, so another 25 seconds to go. Anything could happen here. She continues to drive and keep the focus on herself, not on anyone else, Edina Muller. But she will know, experience will tell her that if she makes a mistake, if she shows a chink in the armour, she will let Mariana Matsula through, as happened at the World Championships. But Edina Muller has perhaps just done enough. She will take the gold medal. The Ukrainian in second, and the Canadian, let's hope she's all right. She's taken a tumble there, taken an early swim. The rescue boats hopefully will go and get her. She takes 3rd place. So Edina Muller confirmed the World Cup champion here at the Paracanoe World Cup in Poznan, Poland. And maybe it was just on the start. Indeed it was, where she got that advantage. Didn't really extend that advantage. She held it right the way through with sheer determination, Edina Muller. So the Tokyo gold medalist adds to her gold medal collection with a gold medal from the Poznan Paracanoe World Cup. Ukraine in second, Canada in 3rd. So Brianna Hennessy will be pleased with that. She's not so pleased to take a swim, but thankfully I'm pleased to report that she is okay. She's in the rescue boat. They're sorting that out for her. She will be fine. So there you go, confirmation of the results. Edina Muller in a good time. Not a world best, but not far behind that. 53 seconds for her. Mariana Matsula in second from the Ukraine, and Brianna Hennessy from Canada takes 3rd. We'll go back up to the start. Now this is the turn of the vase. We've had a kayak. Now we're looking at the vase. Now the vase can be longer than a kayak, up to 7.2 meters, and therefore just a little bit heavier. And we'll see those paddlers just warming up at the moment. Their race due to get underway in about 5 minutes' time. There you can see the VAR. You can see a VAR there, blue one with the white outrigger at the bottom of your picture there. Paddler uses a single-bladed paddle. The long boats, these ones, are a little bit heavier than the kayaks. And what we'll see is a race full here, a full final in the VL2 men, which is great to see from lanes 1 to 9. And there's Edward Clifton, Ed as he's known. And Attila Herbent doing a great job at Royal Leamington Spa, of course, really bringing on many of the paddlers. We'll see another one of his paddlers, Leonos Owen, a little bit later on this afternoon. But Ed just soaking in every ounce of experience here. One of the experiences he's had with postponement of racing in difficult conditions. He'll use that to help his development, to assist his development as he moves through the season. Next to him, Andriy Krivkun from Ukraine. He is in lane 2. Anas Al-Khalifa representing Germany, goes in 3. We'll see him in just a moment, I'm sure. And then Robert Suber, the well-known Hungarian, he goes in lane 4. Just a couple of minutes before the start.
Ewentualnie przypisać to, dlaczego są te numery, że numer 1 to jest taka dysfunkcja najcięższa, później troszkę lżejsza dwójka i trzecia dysfunkcja najlżejsza.
So we have Higino Rivero from Spain goes in 5. Mathieu Saint-Pierre from Canada in 6.
Często miejsce
Tamas Juhas from Hungary in 7. I'm getting a bit dotted around here, but I'll try and do the best I can. We've got Mathieu Saint-Pierre from Canada, there he is, in lane 6. Tamas Juhas from Hungary will be next to him in 7.
Kolejny finał.
Competitors come to the start line.
There's Juhas from Hungary.
Tu akurat nasz reprezentant nie startuje.
So these paddlers have partial leg and trunk function. Really, really good arm strength, as you can see. When you get close up, there's the Italian Marius Quistia from Italy, and Manjit Singh from Indonesia will be next to him in lane 9.
Czekamy, proszę Państwa, na start.
So watch for Higino Rivero, the Spaniard, fastest qualifier in this event, in lane 5, right in the middle. Robert Suber, also experienced Hungarian, in 4. Now Rivero, second at the World Championships in Copenhagen, and he got away to a good start. There you can see the German boat of Al Khalifa. The fastest stroke rate there of Robert Suber, and also Higino Rivero going really well, as is the Canadian Mathieu Saint-Pierre. So alongside him and Thomas Juhas and the Italian Quistia, this is a close race between 4 boats here now. This is just what we want to see for the development of this VAR category. The VL2 category here, we're expecting, well, around about 52, 53 seconds for these paddlers. Rivero going well, but it looks like Mathieu Saint-Pierre has the strength in order to maintain his pace and trying to really keep the length in that stroke here. Giving everything to the line. It's going to be a bit of a lunge for the line, but it looks to be like the Canadian, followed by Spain and Hungary. Canadian fans delighted with that for Mathieu Saint-Pierre, 5th at the World Championships in Copenhagen in September. He's stepped on, hasn't he? He's moved forward, as have many of the Canadian teams. The Canadian paddlers, I should say. They've got half an eye on the World Championships in Halifax in early August. Latching onto the first stroke well was lane 6. That is the Canadian Mathieu Saint-Pierre. Middle part of the race, really high stroke rate. The Spaniard Higino Rivero was going well. But it was the Canadian who kept the length in that stroke, kept the focus, kept it relaxed and smooth, and just had enough. Endurance work he's done over the winter really paying off for him. The Canadian gives it a thumbs up, well done. Magnanimous in victory or defeat, Higino Rivero, that's what we want to see.
6,
These paddlers,
5,
competitors,
7,
but also friends off the water.
Control.
So confirmation of results there, Mathieu Saint-Pierre, 54.39. Higino Rivero in 2nd. Tamas Juhas from Hungary in 3rd. And there you can see, right down to Ed Clifton, just 6.9 seconds separated the first 7. So this is becoming ever more competitive, which is absolutely the idea. We look forward to seeing this at the World Championships in August. And then, of course, these paddlers half an eye on Paris 2024, Versailles, The Olympic and Paralympic Games aren't far away. Blustery conditions here on the Malta course, but goodness me, a lot calmer, a lot better than it was a little bit earlier today and yesterday. We had white horses, we had rain. Didn't have snow, but certainly felt like it. So this should be the KL2 Women 200 metre final. Got slightly the wrong graphic up there, but this will be the kayaks, unless I'm mistaken. It just happens from time to time. So a little view of the course here. It's a popular venue, Poznan. We had the World Championships. In fact, I competed here back in 2001, 21 years ago at the World Championships. We've had another one since then, 2010. And not many fans here today. It's not surprising given the weather. But also the organising committee have done such a fantastic job here, putting on the World Championships in 2026. And we've got a couple of World Cups next year and the year after that, preparing for the World Championships. So it's a well-known and regular part of the circuit, Poznan. We often get a much bigger crowd than we've got today, and often get much better weather as well. It's a tricky course. It widens out at halfway, and therefore sometimes the wind gathers. And we've found that over the last few days, when it is windy, the wind tends to gather down the course, to get stronger and stronger. And also there's no return lane. It is something that the Poles are working on, hoping to dig out a return lane. And what that means is that paddlers can warm up and head up to the start without disturbing the water for those that are racing. And those racing now are the KL2 women in the 200 metre final. Starting in lane 2 with the Chilean Maria Moncada. Next to her will be Joanna Flunga. There she is, Joanna. Just 18 years old, so a bright future ahead of her, and the German team really have a developing Paracanoe squad. They, of course, holding the World Championships next year, which will be the Olympic qualification year in Duisburg, which is another famous canoe sprint venue. Just in the background there, you can see the new swimming pool that's been built. They're always adding on to the facilities here at the Malta course, and just over the last few years they've built a 50-metre swimming pool. Talia Eilat from Israel, she goes in lane 4. Next to her now, Susan Seipel from Austria. And Susan Seipel, she was 7th. She made the final. She was 7th at the Paralympics in Tokyo. So watch out for her. She was also a silver medalist in the VAR, the VL2 event in Tokyo. And then we'll have Anja Adler from Germany. She's in lane 6. 4th at the World Championships, just missed out on the medals last year in Copenhagen. Natalia Lahotenko, Ukrainian, goes in 7. And Lahotenko was 5th at the Tokyo Paralympics. Ines Felipe Vidigal, 7th at the World Championships for Vidigal in Copenhagen. She's going to see if she can do better than that. Extremely competitive in the Tokyo Paralympics, this event, and of course Britain was delighted to have Charlotte Henshaw in 1st place taking the gold medal and Emma Wiggs in 2nd with the silver. They're not here, they're preparing themselves at home in Nottingham for the World Championships, and it allows the British team to have a development team here, which is great to see. So, paddlers in the boots. Final of the KL2 Women 200 metres event is underway. Charlotte Henshaw has the world champions time of 48 seconds. It'd be good if any of these paddlers can get under 50. They may well go close, and certainly looking good off the start was the Australian Susan Seipel, fastest qualifier, 7th at the World Championships in this particular event, but a Paralympic silver medalist herself in the VARs. The paddlers are really well into their paddling And it is lane 5 that's got away well, the Australian. But the German next to her is desperate to catch her. Anja Adler really beginning to put Susan Seipel, the Australian, under pressure. And it looks like Adler just has the advantage now. They're into the red boys. It's not far to go. She'll have seen the previous race being extremely competitive. This is about who can maintain the length and the dynamicism of the stroke right the way to the line. Looks like it's going to be Anja Adler, the German. So Germany taking gold this time round. The Australian having to settle for second. And the Ukrainian, Lahotenko, takes bronze. Anja Adler, well, 4th place in Copenhagen at the Worlds, 4th place at the Olympic. No wonder she's delighted to take the gold medal this time round at the World Cup in Poland. A good start from her, but a fantastic start from the Australian. And she made the early running and set the early pace, Susan Seipel. Look at the determination on the face of Anja Adler. And in the end, that's what counted, a decent margin for her over the Australian Susan Seipel. And then taking the bronze medal will be Natalia Lahotenko. So let's see if the smiling Anja Adler comes for her drink of water on the pontoon whilst her boat is weighed. 52 seconds for her, so a decent time. Susan Seipel just a second outside of that, and Natalia Lahotenko in 3rd place. Good development for Talia Eilat, the Israeli, and Ines Felipe Vidigal, the Spaniard, in 4th and 5th. Well, we'll get underway shortly with VL3 200-metre final in the men's. So we're back on the Vars again now, single-bladed paddle. They have an outrigger. They're a longer boat, 720 centimetres, just a little bit heavier than the kayaks. The VL3 event was not a Paralympic event in Tokyo, but what's wonderful to see, as it will be in Paris for the women. So VL3 was a Paralympic event for the men, but not for the women. So it's fantastic to see gender parity at the Paralympics in Paris. Tokyo, it was Curtis McGrath who obliterated the opposition in this event. Almost 2 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. He's not here. I'm sure that we'll have a competitive race nonetheless. So just got a couple of minutes to get underway with the start. So in the Vars here, Curtis McGrath was the Olympic gold medalist. Giovanni De Paola was second, and Stuart Wood, British paddler, took the bronze. So lane 2, Emilio Atamanuk from Argentina. In lane 3, Adrian Mosquera from Spain in picture. Just preparing his boat. You can see the outrigger on his left-hand side, he paddling on his right. Abel Aber, there he is. The Frenchman goes in lane 4. Next to him will be Vladislav Yepifanov, the Ukrainian. Ukrainian, such a strong squad, of course, in the Paracanoe category. He's in lane 5. Mirko Nicoli from Italy will be in 6. And then we should see Markus Swoboda from Austria in 7. Very, very experienced paddler, Swoboda. He was 6th at the World Championships in Copenhagen last September, the last time he raced at top international level. There's the Italian, Nicoli. It's been a big gap since September, and things can change depending on who's really knuckled down over the winter in training. There's Markus Swoboda, the experienced Austrian. As I say, 6th for Swoboda in this category at the World Championships. Eddie Podovan goes in 8th. And Nicholas Kroster is in 9. So Podovan in 8. Watch out for him. Took 6th place at the Paralympics, did Podovan. Fourth place at the World Championships for Podovan. Very experienced. We've already seen him race in the kayak this afternoon. Now it's the turn of the VAR. So the final of the VL3 men 200 meters is underway. Great start there from Markus Swoboda. World Championships in the KL2, the kayak category. He took the bronze medal last year. Really good shot there of lane 3. Look at that. Mosquera, the Spaniard. Nice long stroke. Really latching on there, keeping the stroke rate high. Trying to run that boat well. But running it best at the moment seems to be lane 5. And that is Vladislav Yepanov, the Ukrainian. Only 23 years old. Yepifanov really keeping that stroke long, a little bit longer than everybody else, and really getting it, locking his weight onto the blade. You can see the boat bobbing with the rhythm of his stroke. That's going well for him. Looks like he's going to be the winner. He is indeed. It looked like Mosquera maybe in the medals as well. No doubt about the winner though, Vladislav Yepifanov. There he is in picture, winner of the VL3 category, men's 200 meters. Really good position on the start for him. Really great start from Yepifanov. Look at that long stroke. Look how he latches onto it right at the very front and driving that leg forwards. Leaning all his weight onto that blade. Let's just clear up second and third. Looked to be like Mosquera was second. And then the Argentinian Atamanuk. So just has a look round, see himself on the big screen. And the Ukrainian Yepifanov pleased with that in 48 seconds. It's a good time, a really quick time from him. Super fast. Mosquera in second, less than a second behind, and Atamanuk, the Argentinian, takes the bronze medal. We will head up to the start of the 200 meters once more for the kayaks, the KL3 category for women. There's the lineup: Australia, Great Britain, Canada, Germany, France, Hungary, Italy, and Great Britain again. KL3, so the kayaks, so we're back down to 520 centimeters. Minimum weight of 12 kilos for these paddlers. Double-bladed paddle. It's a quick category, this one. World champion is Great Britain's Laura Sugar. She's not here. As I say, it's a development team coming here to Poznan. Great opportunity for the paddlers to understand what it's like to race people they don't know very well. In fact, that's one of the things that Llynnos Owen, who's in lane 2, said. Just good to get alongside people you don't know. In Britain, generally, the paddlers know each other very, very well, and they know where they're going to be at. But on this stage, they won't. And it's important they concentrate on their own race. That's what they'll be doing now. Kathleen O'Kelly-Kennedy, the Australian. She goes in lane 1. There's Llynnos Owen in lane 2. Absolutely delighted to be out here. Here's the Welsh paddler. Trains with Attila Herbent in Royal Leamington Spa and of course at Nottingham. A real privilege for her to represent Great Britain for the first time. Erica Scarf, she looks pleased as well, doesn't she? Glad to be here and perhaps a little bit thankful that the wind's died down. Now next to her, Felicia Laberer, bronze medalist in Tokyo. Felicity, the German, so watch for her. And right next to her, Nelia Barbosa. She was the silver medalist behind Laura Sugar in Tokyo. There she is, really determined, a focused look on her face. Barbosa, the French paddler. Then we've got Nicoletta Molnar, 7th at the World Championships in Copenhagen last year for the Hungarian. Amanda Embriaccio from Italy, just behind Molnar, and 8th at the World Championships. So that could be an interesting race within the race. And then lane 8, we've got Lindsay Thorpe, a 29-year-old. Actually paddled on this stage before, Lindsay. Had a bit of a break, but back in 2017 in Racice at the World Championships, she was 3rd. Now that was in the VAR category. Now she's in the kayak, but she has raced at this level, has Lindsay Thorpe from Newark. So, final moments as the paddlers just approach the start, the starting boots, where they'll put the bow of the kayak in for the 200-metre race. Expect this to go under 50 seconds if all goes well. And certainly expect Laberer, the bronze medalist from Tokyo, in lane 4, and Barbosa, the silver medalist from Tokyo, in lane 5 to go well. Llynnos Owen there in picture, looks focused. As I say, just enjoying this experience, lapping it up, soaking it up. And she'll be hoping to get a place for the World Championships in Halifax. So about to get underway with the KL3 final in the women's 200 metres. And leaping out at the start, that was lane 7. Embriaccio, the Italian, made the final at the World Championships last year, the Italian. There she is in picture, looking really good. Nice long stroke from her, seems very focused. And wants to go better than the 8th place she got in Copenhagen. And certainly, judging by the start, she's got a good chance of doing that as the camera pans out. Now we'll get a view for our Tokyo Paralympic medalist. A really quick stroke right there, goodness me. Lane 5 in picture there. Look at the determination there on her face. And keeping it ticking over is Nelia Barbosa, the diminutive French woman, but really, really strong, really driving hard there and getting a good grip onto the water. She's going to take gold, followed closely by Labera, who didn't get off to a great start. I think the Italian takes 3rd. Italian pushed close by Llynnos Owen. She will be pleased, although she's missed out on the medals. Looks like she took a 4th place. But no doubt over the winner, Nelia Barbosa. From France, good result for her. She's got a Tokyo Paralympic silver medal. Now she's got a World Cup gold medal. Wonder what colour she'll get in Halifax at the World Championships in early August. And the German with a poor start really came back at her well, didn't she? Felicia Labera. She'll work on that start, I'm sure, when she goes back to training. She's not far behind. Looked to be the Italian just getting ahead of Llynnos Owen up there in lane 2. So confirmation of the results there, 48 seconds. That's a good time from Nelia Barbosa, first place. Felicia Labera from Germany in second, and Amanda Embriaccio from Italy in third. Just behind that, Linos Owen from Great Britain. Well, that ends the finals in the Paracanoe. It's been absolutely wonderful to have them. We thought we might not be able to bring them to you, but we're delighted to be able to do so. And great to see every time we show you the Paracanoe events, they're ever developing with new people in there and becoming more and more competitive. We really look forward to seeing those events at the World Championships in Halifax in August. And also just a real relief to see we're able to go racing this evening. There is a little bit of wind on the Malta Lake here, but nothing really that will bother the paddlers. And we'll turn our attention to the kayaks in the men. 500 metres, their world best time, Tom Leibscher. I'm not sure we're going to see 1:35. We will see Tom Leibscher in the K4s later on tomorrow morning. But certainly the times will be quick. There's a tailwind, I should say. It's not too strong, though not too difficult to control the boat. So ideal conditions for going quickly. And there you can see the Austrian Timon Maurer. He's part of this first race. Got a little few moments before we get underway with the first semi-final. We'll have 3 semi-finals in the K1 500 metre event. It's first to third will go to the A final, 4th to 6th to the B final, and the rest will go to the C final. So the first race to get underway in just 3 minutes' time. And though this race is not an Olympic discipline, it is competitive, because what we've got is the Olympic program has 500 metres in the K2 and the K4 for Paris. So a lot of events now converging on that middle distance. It used to be that we'd have the endurance athletes taking part in the 1,000 metres, the sprinters, powerful, explosive athletes in the 200 metres. And now we're somewhere in between with the 500 metres. And we'll see that some of the aerobic animals will try and shorten what they do into 500 in order to get into the Olympic category boats. And some of the 200 metre muscular power paddlers will look to extend what they do to move up to 500 metres, and quite often in the K4s we'll see a mixture of both, and it's down to the coaches to get that magic right of combining endurance and power and strength for a 500 metre event. And that is why this event is so competitive once again. It was Kenny Wallace back in 2008 was the last Olympic gold medal winner in this discipline. And that was around the time of Tim Brabants, and of course Adam van Coverdon from Canada was so good in the K1 over this distance. But perhaps time for a new generation here. We've got lots of young paddlers, as well as those like Fernando Pimenta we'll see in the third semi-final, who's very experienced. What's quite exciting in this one actually is this particular paddler now, Thorbjørn Rask. Really young, talented paddler from Denmark. And last week, if you were watching, you'd have seen him out-sprint Fernando Pimenta. That doesn't happen very often. That was in the 5,000 metre race. To be fair to Pimenta, it was his third big race of the weekend. He'd won the K1000, he'd won the K2000. But you expected him to win the 5K, and Thorbjørn Rask out-sprinted him. So watch out for him, and also watch out in lane 5 for the German. There he is. Thorsten, Jakob Thorsten. He really wants to be in that K4 or the K2 for the Olympic Games, Jakob. And paddled so well in under 100 seconds last weekend to win the K1 500 metres. And just put a marker down to the German squad. So let's take you through the lineup. Wojtek Pilarz from Poland in 1. Augustin Rodriguez from Argentina in 2. Thorbjørn Rask from Denmark in 3. Timon Maurer, the Austrian, in 4. Jakob Thorsten goes in 5. Gustavo Goncalves from Portugal in 6. James Munro from New Zealand in 7. Chen Qintao from China in 8. Ilya Popilin from Israel in 9. Final of the K1 men, sorry, semi-final of the K1 men 500 metres. So first semi-final in the K1 men 500 metres is underway. Great drone shot there. You can see right the way across from lane 9 to your right, lane 1 to your left, and right in the middle of the picture, the fastest qualifier, and it is the German. Look at the rotation you can see, even from that shot from the drone, going really, really well. Jakob Thorsten right in the middle of the picture. Watch out, as I said, for lane 3, Thorben Rask. Superb last weekend over the 5K distance. He's going to have to shorten it a bit here, though, because this will only be around about 1:40. So he hasn't got the same time as he had to pace himself in the 5K. Look at that, looking super smooth at the minute. Jakob Thorsten, full of confidence from last weekend. You can see he's just tracking the paddler to his left, Timon Maurer. Don't know much about Timon, the 22-year-old from Austria, but it's certainly going well at the minute. And putting himself in the mix is the New Zealander in lane 7. That's James Munro. Timo Maurer looking good there. Looking strong, but this is now the business end of the race. We've got less than 30 seconds to go. They'll be coming into the red boy soon. It'll be about getting into the top 3 to move through into tomorrow's final. And Jakob Thorsten, well, his goodness me, he's got a lot of work to do here. He's not going to go through. A little bit of a surprise there. He's looking tired. So it is the Austrian. It's still with the Austrian. And the late charge coming from Thorben Rask. We saw him do exactly that and overhaul Fernando Pimenta in the 5K just last week. He's not going to overhaul the Austrian, but he is going to get himself a place in tomorrow's final. So look to me like Austria goes through. Timon Maurer, great result from him. Alongside him will be Thorben Rask, the exciting new Danish paddler, and joining them will be James Munro from New Zealand. Just await confirmation of that. Jakob Thorsten, well, just a little bit disappointing. Good, look, very relaxed, and then just didn't have that edge that's required in the 500 metres to really push on, to dig deep, to hurt yourself in the final 100 metres. No problem with Timon Maurer, though. Nice stroke, really using the muscles of the back, not using the arms there from him. And looking good. Watch out for him in tomorrow's final. Thorben Rask can do it over 5K, he can do it over 500. 5 is his number. And joining the party in the final will be James Munro from New Zealand. Well, we'll head up. We're taking you with the drone up towards the start as we see confirmation. Final 8th, top 3 there. Maurer from Austria, Rask from Denmark, Munro from New Zealand. Next 3 will be in the B final, and 7th to 9th will be in the C final. Unlikely we're going to see the B and C finals because we've got such a busy programme tomorrow, but we certainly will see the A final. Okay, so second semi-final of the K1 men 500 metres is coming up. There's the lineup for you. The final will be about 12:30 local time tomorrow, all being well. Let's hope it's a little bit calmer than it was today. Said Fazlullah, who's a refugee being supported by the International Canoe Federation, he will go in lane 1, so he's top of your picture. Then Christian Coetzee paddled well at Rachice last weekend in this event. From South Africa, he's in 2. Alex Graneri from Spain goes in 3. Victor Leziski from Poland in 4. Jonas Draeger, the German, goes in 5. Magnus Sibersen, Danish paddler, in 6. Trevor Thompson from Great Britain, from Ealing Canoe Club, he goes in 7. Jeffrey Gonzalez Peralta from Guadeloupe in 8. And Dimitri Stošić from Serbia goes in 9. Second semi-final of the men's K1 500 metres. Semi-final 2 of the men's K1 500 metres is underway. Good clean start from all those paddlers. Not a great start from the pole. Lesinski in lane 4, but lane 5, Jonas Draeger, he got away well. He's another one of these Germans that is vying for the places in the German K2 and K4 heading towards Paris 2024. Christian Kurtz, he made the final last week. He was 7th there. Jonas Draeger, the German, was 8th in last week's final, but Draeger maybe got away to the best of the starts in this event, but this is the part of the race that is so important. Almost maximum. It's beginning to hurt already, but they know they've still got half the race to go. So Jonas Draeger leading the way. Watch out lane 3 there, the tall figure of Alex Granieri. Still a junior, well, just out of junior I should say, Granieri, so a lot expected of him in the future. This is all about the here and now and trying to get through one of those, to take one of those top 3 places to take them through to tomorrow's final. And Jonas Draeger in the driving seat at the moment. Jazicki, the pole, is going well. He's in lane 4, watch out for him. And Jonas Draeger is beginning to flail around a little bit in the water. He is struggling and really picking up the pace. Is the smooth Spaniard, and also lane 6, Magnus Sibersen. Watch for lane 6 as well, as spread right away across here. Spain, Poland and Denmark. Well, great result there for Alex Granieri. Just putting down a marker there for the 19-year-old. A really good race. Look, you can see from the look on his face, just perhaps a touch surprised at that. Delighted, or maybe a little bit surprised. It was Jonas Draeger who got away well, and I just thought that he'd be able to settle and relax a bit in the middle section, but he obviously didn't, and just was found wanting towards the end. Although, to be fair to him and to the German squad, they have had quite a bit of COVID going through the squad over the last couple of months. It's made it really difficult, paddlers having to rest and then gradually reintroduce the paddling and the training. So it hasn't been an easy time for the German squad over the last couple of months. So Spain, Denmark and Poland going through to tomorrow's final. Yeah, Magnus Sibersen actually picked up the silver medal in last weekend's race in this event. And we've got some really good young Danish paddlers coming through, so good result for Sibersen. Only 21 years old, learning from the master, the likes of René Paulsen, who's still paddling. He was a medalist in the Olympic Games back in 2008. So someone they can really, really learn from. And Granieri, well, he's in a fantastic squad of Spanish paddlers. Right up there on the medal table from last weekend was Spain. There he is, confirmed. 140 for the Spaniard. Magnus Sibersen in 2nd. Victor Lesinski from Poland in 3rd into the A final. International Canoe Federation, Germany, Great Britain in the B final, the rest into the C final, though we may not see the B and C finals tomorrow. As I say, Spain topped the medal table last weekend in Račice. They were just magnificent in both the men's K2 500 metres, picking up the gold and the silver last weekend, and in the men's K4 500 metres. We were thinking it was going to be a race between Spain and Germany. Well, the Spanish K4 obliterated the German K4 last weekend. But we'll wait to see for tomorrow if it's going to be different. And we'll head up to the start of semi-final 3 of the K1 at 500 metres. And one name particularly stands out there. That is Fernando Pimenta. I think the only person who's racing today that's had a World Championship mascot named after him. 2018 in Portugal, when they had the World Championships in Montevideo, they had Pimentinha, who was the mascot, who even had the backwards red cap, which Pimenta has been wearing over these past 10 years or so. Probably won't wear it today just to prove me wrong. So to take the lineup, Stav Mizrahi from Israel goes in 1. Zach Firkins from New Zealand in 2. We already had a New Zealander who's made the final. The New Zealander who made the final was James Munro in the first semi-final. So Zach Firkins hoping to do the same here. Adrian Del Rio from Spain goes in 3. Jackson Collins from Australia in 4. Next to him, Fernando Pimenta goes in 5. He's wearing his red cap, that's a relief. Just not the sunglasses this time round for Pimenta. Clearly in good form. Maybe just tired towards the end of the weekend in Racice, as he was beaten on the line in the 5K, but he won the 1000 metre K1, he won the 1000 metre K2, which would be his preferred distance. But he's pretty sharp over 500. Right, in 6, Augustin Vernice, who's paddling so well. He had a great result as well last weekend in Racice, making the final in the K1000 metres. Rock Schmidt from Slovenia in 7. John van der Westhausen from Australia. Watch out for him in lane 8. His brother Pierre here as well. He is the Olympic champion in the K2 1000 metre distance, along with Thomas Smith. And Yusuke Miyata goes in lane 9. Well, this will be a really interesting one. What's Pimenta going to do? Now, in the 1000 metres, he normally gets out really, really well, really strongly. He tries to dominate the opposition, but much more difficult in the 500 metres to do. We expect John van der Westhausen to get away well, but what's special about van der Westhausen, of course, is his back end of his race. He can really push on once again. This is interesting because Jackson Collins, watch out for him in lane 4, he's going well as well. Pimenta just beginning to look ominous now. So, we've got about 200 metres to go now, another 30 seconds or so to go. This is where it's really painful, when it begins to hurt and when the rotation, when all those hours of training with the right technique proves so important. Because when it hurts, the technique still has to hold up. Pimenta, not looking as crisp as he did last weekend in the 1000, but looking good. He's moving through. He's being stalked by Jackson Collins to his left, Augustin Vernice to his right. Jean van der Westhausen is doing his own thing down here at the bottom of the picture. You'll see him come into picture now. He's either easing up or he's tying up, but he's probably done enough to go through in the top 3. It's between him and his teammate for the top 2 places. And Fernando Pimenta safe for Portugal. So Jackson Collins looked like he took the win that time round. John van der Westhausen either, as I said, tiring or just keeping his powder dry for tomorrow's final goes through, and Fernando Pimenta will be joining them.
Lane 5.
Great shot from the drone there. Lane 1 to your left, lane 9 to your right, middle of the screen, Fernando Pimenta in the red hat. Not the best of starts, but this is where he begins to move through from the halfway point. Van der Westhausen did the early work. Just ease up towards the line. His teammate just overcoming him on the line. Let's get a check here. Australia, Australia, and then Pimenta for Portugal in 3rd. Confirmation there, top 3, Collins, van der Westhausen and Pimenta. go to the A final. The rest, we'll have to see if we can fit in the B and C finals tomorrow. I must say, it's a busy program. We may not be able to do so. Well, we've seen the 200 metres in the Paralympic categories. We've just seen the 500 metres. We're heading back to 200 metres now. The C1 women semi-finals are coming up. And the women's canoe is the only event in the Olympic programme now that is still raced over 200 metres. Now, that may well change, perhaps in Los Angeles in 2028 or indeed Brisbane 2032. But for now, it is an Olympic distance. And we were treated last weekend to some great racing, particularly by the Cubans, which, sad to say, they're not here this weekend. It was Yaroslavdis Dubois winning with a teammate, Katerina Segura, in the C2, but also winning the C1 200 metres event. So there's the lineup for the first of two semi-finals. This qualification's a little bit different, given that there are only two semi-finals. First to third to final A, fourth to seventh, and next best time to final B, and the rest out. So they're only going to have 6. They're not, sorry, they will have 9 in the final, but 3 qualified straight from the heats.
Wyścigu półfinałowym. Pięknie by było, gdyby awansowały obie do finału, natomiast będzie bardzo ciężko. Świetne zawodniczki z Wielkiej Brytanii, Niemiec, Hiszpanii.
Right, well, I'm just checking the heats. We have got 3 qualified straight through from the heats into the final, and I'm delighted to say I was wrong. Yaroslavdis Dubois is here, the Cuban. So she went straight through into the final, no problem at all, on Thursday. And she'll be joined in the final by the young under-23 world champion, Sophia Jensen from Canada, and Shuai Changwen from China. So that is going to be really exciting. And we find out in the next 2 semi-finals which 6 other paddlers will be joining them. So we're going through there. Katie Reid just doing a little bit of the robotics there for the graphics. Well done to you, Katie, from Dunfermline. Our Olympian, only got the late call for the Olympics, but she paddled so well in Tokyo. So just take you through the lineup. Lane 2 will be Teruko Kiriaki from Japan. Lane 3, Annika Lusk from Germany. Lane 4, you just saw her, Katie Reid from Great Britain. Katerina Speszkiewicz from Poland goes in 5. Afton Fitzhenry, there she is in lane 6. Afton from Belfast Canoe Club. Magdana Stani, so good in the C2 as well as the C1 from Poland. She goes in 7. Lena Marie Bielik from Germany will be next to her in lane 8. There she is. Bielik. Just 21 years old. And then Carolina Gonzalez Carvalho, 20 years old, the young Spaniard. And it's wonderful to see we've got new and young paddlers moving this on. Really exciting paddlers, the likes of Nevin Harrison, the Olympic champion, of course, from the USA. Yaroslavdis Dubois, who just keeps up getting better and better with every race. We'll see her in the final tomorrow. And of course, we've got Katie Vincent, who's a world champion from Canada, taking on the mantle left by Laurent Vincent-Lepoint, who was such a trailblazer, a Canadian, in this event. And now she's retired. Lots of young paddlers coming through, which is wonderful to see, including Ludmila Lutzan, of course, and Anastasia Chetverikova from the Ukraine. So, Japan, Germany, Great Britain, Poland, Germany and Spain fighting it out, the top 3 to go through to tomorrow's final. Semi-final in the women's C1 200 metres. We're underway. Super fast start there. Spyskiewicz, the pole. She's got home advantage here. She knows this water well. A really, really aggressive stroke from her, but she blends that aggression with the lock onto the water as if it was concrete, and she's driving a boat through, having that lock onto the stroke. She's looking really good as she gets to the red buoys, the final 100 metres. Katie Reed has a bit of work to do to get into that top 3, but she's got to keep pushing now. She'll know that Magdalena Stani, the pole, and going with her, Belike, the German, as well. So it's definitely going to be Spyskiewicz. But who's going to join her in the final? Pole and Great Britain. So looked like 2 Poles and a Brit in the final. Spyskiewicz. Katie Reed looked to be second.
7, 9 to the boat control.
And it looked like 3rd place was Magdalena Stani.
To the boat control.
The Poles continue their wonderful few weekends of racing. And this is a great shot. Look at that. Nice long stroke from her. Really dynamic, driving that knee forward off the stroke, using all the power that she's got, the 21-year-old. Well, world rankings 23, but nobody told her. She's way ahead of the rest of the field. Big lunge on the line from a teammate, but it was actually Katie Reed who maintained her stroke over the line. I think Katie will be pleased with that. She had a good result in the 500-metre non-Olympic event last weekend. Missed out on the final in this Olympic distance, so she was 7th last weekend in the 500, but this is the one, this is the Olympic event. Katie Reed will be pleased to take that 2nd place. Looking strong. James Trainer, coach, will be happy with that. But after that race, no one's as happy as Katarzyna Spyskiewicz. And as I said earlier, the Poles having just a wonderful couple of weeks of racing. Things going really, really well, particularly in the women's squad for them. Confirmation 47.28 there for Katarzyna Spyskiewicz. Katie Reed takes 2nd, Magda Stani takes 3rd, and Afton Fitzhenry, well, she wasn't far behind, but she misses out this time round in getting through to an A final. So 2nd of 2 semi-finals. We have 6 people already made the finals, 3 more to join them. Question is, who's it going to be? So, Japan, Korea, Czech Republic, Cuba, Canada, Georgia, France, Czech Republic and Hong Kong in this one. Mio Kobayashi from Japan goes in lane 1. Toshi Furuya, who's overseeing events here for the International Canoe Federation, representatives from Japan, and helping things run smoothly, which has been a real challenge here in Poznan this weekend because of the weather. Yenin Lee from Korea in 2. Denisa Rahova from the Czech Republic, she goes in 3. Katarzyna Segura, the Cuban, will see her in 4. Winner last weekend in the C2 over this distance with Yaroslawis Dubois. Expect her to go well. There she is, exciting young paddler, only 20 years old. Then next to her, a little bit more experience, we'll see Katie Vincent. She's a world champion over the 500-metre distance. She's an Olympic medalist with Laurent Vincent Lepoint. She's responsible for driving through some of these young paddlers that are up and coming while still trying to stay at the top of her game. Myriam Kediashvili from Georgia goes in 6. Eugénie Dorange from France in 7. Martina Malikova from Czech Republic goes in 8. Min Yu Law from Hong Kong in 9. Second semi-final in the women's C1 200 meters is underway. And a powerful start from the red boat, Segura, the Cuban. Could be a contrast between her and the long figure, the tall figure of Katie Vincent in lane 5. Expect Katie Vincent to come through strongly in the second part of this race, but the choppy, powerful stroke, the distinctive stroke of Katerine Segura, just doing enough at the minute to get her nose in front. Missing a little bit on the front of her stroke, but the high stroke rate is working for her. Such a contrast, as I said, to Katie Vincent, who keeps it long, keeps it smooth, maintains that balance. Really, really efficient paddle stroke from Katie Vincent, but it will be Segura who takes first. Katie Vincent in second. And Georgia, looked to be Georgia, taking the third place. So, Katerine Segura, clearly in good form at the minute, winning with a teammate, Yaroslavs Dubois from Cuba. So paddlers have to find what works for them, and what works for one is different to what works for someone else. Wonderful thing about canoeing. Segura, choppy short stroke, takes her over the line in first, and the smooth and efficient stroke of Katie Vincent gets her through in second. The Georgian paddler, Mariami Kediashvili, takes third place. So we'll have Cuba, France, China, Poland, and Georgia all making through to tomorrow's A final. 46.51. It's a quicker time than the previous race for Katerine Segura, Katie Vincent, and Miriami Kurdiashvili. That rounds up the finalists for the women's C1 200 meters. And we'll see that final 11:10 local time tomorrow. We'll just take a breather for a moment, and then we'll be going back to the 200 meters for the Paracanoe finals. We've got more Paracanoe finals for you now as the light begins to fade here at the Malta regatta course. We'll start off with KL1 men, then we'll have the VL2 women, followed by the KL2 men, and a couple more finals before we look towards finishing off the evening with some mixed K2s.
Paddlers, approach the start line, please. Approach the start line.
So kayak category again. Now in the KL1 category, competitors have limited or no trunk function and no leg balance. It really is a challenge for many of these paddlers, but they do a fantastic job. And in Tokyo at the Paralympics, we saw Peter Kiss, the Hungarian. There'll be a different Hungarian in this race, but Peter Kiss was the winner in Tokyo. Louis de Silva was second, and Remy Boulet from France was in third. We'll see Remy in this very race. We'll also see Peter Kiss, the gold medalist, in one of the outside lanes. Now there's Remy Boulet from France. Alongside him will be Peter Kiss, who is the Paralympic champion, Alex Santos from Portugal in 7, and Adrian Castano in 8. So we've got Benjamin Sainsbury from Australia in 1, Robinson Mendes from Chile in 2, Anas Al Khalifa from Germany in 3, Robert Suba from Hungary in 4, Remy Boulet from France in 5, Peter Kiss, the Paralympic champion, goes in 6 from Hungary, Alex Santos from Portugal in 7, and Adrian Castano from Spain in 8. final of the KL1 men's 200 metres is underway. We can see the Hungarian there in picture. Peter Kiss, as I said, Paralympic champion. Got away to a good start, but when we pan out, we'll see. Has Boulay managed to put him under pressure? Looks like he has. Difficult to see, but indeed he has. The dynamic stroke there from lane 7. Goodness me, Alex Santos really going well, is the Portuguese paddler at the moment. There's Remy Boulay. 34-year-old. And he got away well, didn't he? Really good middle section of that race, and he's just maintaining that pace right the way through to the line. So great win for him. Hungary in second, but perhaps not the one we expected. Robert Suber. So Remy Boulay, well, bronze medalist in Tokyo, now takes the gold medal at the World Cup here in Poland. Really good, nailed that first stroke, didn't he, in lane 5. You can just see that boat moving really, really smoothly. Nice vertical paddle stroke, getting a good grip on the water. Powerful shoulders and upper body, drive that boat forward. There we go. And was it the Portuguese paddler who took the bronze? Let's see. We've got confirmation. Look, it looked like it was the Hungarian taking third. So Hungarians taking 2 medals there. Robert Suber and Peter Kiss. But the one they all wanted, the gold medal, that went to Remy Boulay. There we go, Remy Boulay confirmed, 48.66. Robert Suber, Peter Kiss making up the medalists there.
5 minutes to start of race number 130.
So, final of the VL2 women 200 metres coming up shortly.
Lane 4, Canada. Lane 5, India. Lane 6, Germany. Lane 7, France.
Final race on the distance of 200 meters. Lane 3, Israel. Lane 4, Canada. Lane 5, India. Lane 6, Germany. Lane 7, Australia.
So no Emma Wiggs, world champion, and of course Paralympic champion, but we do have Susan Seipel, who is a Tokyo silver medalist. Great to see her racing. She'll be in lane 7.
4 minutes
And of course we've got Brianna Hennessy, who was 5th at the Paralympics, just outside the medals for her. Got a couple of minutes before they start as they circle round. Oh, this is the turn of the VAR, remember, the outrigger event, 7.2 metres long, single-bladed paddle, VL2 category, partial leg and trunk function alongside really good arm strength. Emma Wiggs really dominated this event over the last 3 or 4 years, and Emma just cocooned in Nottingham, training hard, probably watching this actually, so hi to Emma. And to Gemma. Hopefully you're enjoying the coverage here on Planet Canoe. Probably pleased that you're at home in Nottingham where it's calm, I guess. Well, thankfully it's pretty calm here now in Poznan. It was really windy yesterday, and conditions just meant we weren't able to run the racing this morning. But the officials had half an eye on the weather forecast, which was for it to calm down, the wind to settle, and the sun's even come out now. So we're enjoying some racing at the Malta course. There's a swimming pool in the background. Surrounded by trees and hills here. It's a nice place. It's just a 40-minute walk from Poznan, which has a beautiful market square in the centre, although not beautiful at the moment because they've dug up all the paving stones. And it does have a beautiful cathedral where way back in the 10th century, in fact, the very first king of Poland was crowned. So, not the biggest city in Poland, but after Warsaw,
Number 130.
it is
Line 3 Israel.
one of the biggest.
Line 3 Israel. Lane 4 Canada. Lane 5 India. Line 6 Germany.
Okay, so VAR, VL2 category. We'll have Irina Shafir from Israel in lane 3. She'll be top of your picture. Brianna Hennessy from Canada. Brianna was 5th at the Tokyo Paralympics, remember. Then Indonesia, Praki Yadav. She goes in lane 5. Katharina Bauernschmidt from Germany goes in 6. 4th at the World Championships last year, Katarina. There's Irina Shafir. And Israel very well represented in the Paracanoe categories. There we can see Brianna Hennessy. Canadians have a really big squad out here. Good to see their CEO, Casey Wade, out here as well, keeping a watchful eye over on proceedings, thinking about the World Championships in early August. They're really looking forward to hosting. Prachi Yadav, we saw there from Indonesia. There's Katharina Bauernschmidt from Germany, just making her way, putting the front of that VAR into the boot. And then we should have Susan Seipel from Austria, the experienced Austrian. Sorry, not Austrian, Australian I should say. My mistake, apologies. Should have recognised the colours. So she's just approaching the start. There'll be slightly different angles we can see on the start because the paddlers are only using a single blade, remember. No rudders in these boats. So they've got to angle their boat correctly. If they're left-handed, they know that paddling on the left is going to drive the boat right. So they want to start slightly facing the opposite way. And poor Irina Shafir, she's just struggling a little bit, and she's doing the sensible thing there, just going back, giving herself a bit of space, and then she'll reset again. And this is why we didn't have racing this morning. Because in really difficult windy conditions, if you're in a boat and you've got a single-bladed paddle, it isn't easy, as you can see, to get the boat at the right angle with the bow in the boot. And it's really interesting to see how they approach this, the Paracanoe paddlers in the VAR. Whether they have as long stroke as possible and get as much power in that as possible, or a really choppy short stroke but keep it ticking, keep it tapping over. And that's the trick. Of course, the ultimate is to be able to do both. Have a long stroke and a fast stroke and get all your power into it. So, the final of the VL2 Women 200 metres is underway. Great start from Brianna Hennessy there. She was in a semi-final, really determined. And using the big muscles of the back, they're really swinging into that. Those left lats working really well. She's got that boat moving just nicely now. She'll be up to full racing speed. And Susan Seipel, the Australian, well, she's got a bit of work to do, but she's coming good now. So we're halfway into this race. We're approaching the red boys, the final 100 metres. It looked a little bit like Brianna Hennessy has the advantage at the moment. But I'm sure that Susan Seipel has something to say about that. The Paralympic finalist, of course, Seipel. She was 7th in Tokyo in this particular event. She's running well, she's running smoothly at the moment. She looks as if she's beginning to overcome the Canadian. Oh, it's going to be close. Is it going to be Seipel? Is it going to be Hennessy? Right on the line. Close for 3rd as well. Well, we'll have to wait for confirmation. Could be the Indonesian going through in 3rd there. Well, Susan Seipel's giving everyone a big wave. She thinks perhaps she's got it. Well, I think we're going to have to wait to see and wait for confirmation. Well, I've given it on there. Now, if they put it up on the graphics, the judges are pretty sure that's what the result's going to be. If they're unsure, they won't allow the graphic to go up. So Susan Seipel looks like she takes the gold. So Seipel takes gold to go the silver medal in this particular event from Tokyo. Hennessy from Canada in second, and a great result for Yadav from Indonesia in third. There's confirmation of the result. Seipel, Hennessy, Yadav, Australia, Canada, Indonesia. And we switch VAR for kayak very shortly, where we'll have the KL2 men 200 meter final. And then if we just look ahead for tomorrow, well, we've got a couple of moments. We'll be starting at 8 o'clock local time. Just after 8 o'clock, we should have the start with the C2 men over 500 meters. And then we'll go right the way through until... We'll go right the way through until 10 o'clock. That'll be the first session tomorrow, right the way through from C2 men, K4 women, K4 men, two fantastic races to look forward to there. We'll even have C4 in the women, which we didn't have last weekend. We'll have some endurance racing with the K1 men 1000s and the K1 women 500, both Olympic events. So that'll be all from between 8 and 10 tomorrow. And we'll have some medal ceremonies, a bit of a gap. We'll get started again at 11, where we'll go through K1 men 200 meters, K1 women 200 meters. Then we'll have the K2 men, which was so competitive over 500 meters last weekend. And K2 women also over 500 meters. And that will be to around 1 o'clock. Then we'll give you a little break. Before 2:15, we'll be starting the 5,000 meter races, starting with the C1 women. So we've got 3 chunks really to bring you from 8 till 10 tomorrow, from 11 till 1, and from 2:15 to around 4:30. So I do hope you'll be able to join me. For some of you that'll be on television, for others that'll be on Planet Canoe. But we'll be bringing a really packed day of racing in Poznan for the second and final World Cup of the season. Then there'll be a bit of a gap. We'll have a good few weeks. And we'll be then bringing you the World Championships from Halifax, Nova Scotia in early August. Can't wait for that. You'll be able to join myself with various guests on Planet Canoe for the World Championships. Right now though, we've got the KL2 final of 200 meters, and we'll have Andros Rozobora from Hungary in lane 1. Emilio Atamanuk from Argentina in 2. Christian Volpi from Italy goes in 3. Federico Mancarella, also from Italy, in 4. Mikola Sinyuk from Ukraine in 5. Vuk Radovanovic from Serbia in 6. Marcus Swoboda from Austria in 7. Adi Ezra from Israel in 8, and Ahmed Naguib from Egypt in 9. Final of the K2 men 200 meters. Rodsborda in lane 1. Well, he's going to struggle to keep up with the pace. Certainly going out really, really well. That's lane 3. Christian Volpi lost both legs in an accident, scooter accident, just a year ago. Always passionate about paddling. Now doing really well in Paracanoe, and I'm sure that we're going to be seeing much more of him in the future. A little bit more experience is Mikola Sinyuk from Ukraine. He's going really well at the moment in this event. And he takes the win. Wonderful to see Italy in second. Austria takes third. So Mikola Sinuk takes first place in the KL2 men 200 meters. He's also the world champion and the Paralympic silver medalist, and gets a really good drive off that first stroke. Early running with the Italian. We're going to see much more of Volpi in the future. Sinuk, lovely long stroke, focused determination on his face. This will mean a lot to him and to his country, of course. They've been through the mill recently. And it's wonderful to see them achieve on a world stage in Paracanoe. There's confirmation. Sinuk in first for Ukraine, Volpi in second for Italy, and Swoboda in third for Austria. Well, we'll go back to the VARs, and very shortly we'll have the VL3 category for women. So start list for the final of the VL3 women. Poland, Israel, Canada, Ukraine, Hungary and Australia. So VL3 for women. Now this is a really interesting event because they've pushed for it for the Paris Paralympics. It's got a place in the Paris Paralympics, which means men and women will be taking part in exactly the same number of races in Paracanoe in the 2024 Paralympics, which is great news. And no doubt, because this is going to be in the Paralympics, it's going to get even more competitive. Justyna Reguka from Poland goes in 2. Talia Eilat from Israel in 3. Big smile on the face of Erika Scarf there, the Canadian, in 4. Natalia Lahotenko from Ukraine goes in 5. Juliana Toth from Hungary in 6. And Amy Ralph from Australia in 7.
Canada, lane 5, Ukraine, lane 6.
Również, proszę Państwa, nie było wyścigu eliminacyjny, mamy od razu finał z nadziejami oczekujemy na start naszej zawodniczki.
So Ukrainian Lahotenko already has a bronze medal from the KL2 women category here in Poznan. It took place a little bit earlier this afternoon. Quite a few of these paddlers double up, both in kayak and the VAR. You see Justyna Reguka there from Poland just making some final adjustments as she gets her boat ready.
Konkurencji było już 12, czyli tyle ile mieliśmy w ostatnich igrzyskach olimpijskich w Tokio czy w Rio de Janeiro.
There's Talia Elliott and then Erika Scarf, as we just saw in picture. Natalia Lahotenko goes in 5.
3 medale
Way back in 2018, she was second in this event, silver medalist at the European Championship. So she's got the experience. Juliana Toth from Hungary in 6, and Amy Ralph from Australia goes in 7. So just an adjustment as we saw in the previous race there. We can see Justina Raguka heading backwards. Maybe she's got something caught on the front of her boat. Maybe she just wasn't happy with the way she was set up for the start. And it is really important in this race. You can see, look at the angle, the 2 left-handers there at the bottom of your screen. Because they're left-handed, you start at an angle facing to the left because they know naturally the stroke will bring their boat round and straighten them up for the rest of the race. And now it's the turn of Talia Eilat, the Israeli. And these are really nervous moments. They're all backing off now to re-prepare themselves. Maybe there's a bit of a game going on there. Just sending a message to their competitors saying, I will start when I'm ready, thank you. So, final of the VL3 women over 200 metres. And just after that, we'll have the KL3 men. Well, thankfully the starter got them underway very, very quickly. And they're away cleanly. Lane 3, the Israeli there, you can see working really hard. Eilat, but Canadian really into a driving rhythm. Look at that. And Erica Scarf, she's having a good regatta. As we said, many of the Canadians are. An ever-developing squad of young paddlers. A 26-year-old really putting Lukatenko under pressure. Super short, choppy stroke, but it's dynamic. She gets a lot of power down, whereas you can say Lahotenko keeping it long, keeping it smooth. It's like watching Du Bois from Cuba against Vincent from Canada in the women's sprint C1 category. Short stroke against long stroke. This time, like we saw in the C1 actually, short just wins over long. Maybe there's a message in that. And the Australian Amy Ralph takes 3rd place.
5 minutes to start. Lane 1, Ukraine. Lane 2.
So Erica Scarf, she'll be pleased with that. She was smiling before the start, a little bit tired after that, but a good race from her, just kept that tempo high, didn't she? Clearly it works for her. Let's watch the start now. Yeah, she gets away well, right into a stroke straight away. Lahotenko takes a little bit longer. See the contrast. The number of strokes that Scarf's taking is a lot higher. Not necessarily the most efficient way, but she's very, very powerful, and she uses that power well. And those two fighting it out really means they're a long way ahead of the rest of the field. And the big gap of clear water for Amy Ralph to try and make up, but she did enough to get through into the bronze medal position. Confirmation there, Scarf from Canada in 1st, Lahotenko from Ukraine in 2nd, and Ralph from Australia in 3rd place. Well, it's a lovely evening here at the Malta Lake Regatta Course in Poznan. Just fingers crossed, folks, for tomorrow. We do hope the weather will be good. Maybe the sun will shine like this. There might be a slight ripple on the water. But as long as we can get underway with racing, which we'll be doing by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning local time. We've got a few more races left for this evening. We've actually got some mixed K2 heats coming up shortly. We may be able to bring you those, we'll see. But we can bring you the KL3 men 200 meter final. So Yaroslav Yepifanov from Ukraine goes in lane 1. In lane 2 is Eric Kiss. In 3, Quazzro Cloppa from Italy. There he is in picture. Juan Antonio Valle. It was the quickest in qualifying, was the Spaniard. He's in 4. Next to him, Dylan Littlehales. Didn't let the changing conditions put him off, Dylan. Still focused. Felt it was the right decision. And now here he is, he's got his final in the KL3. Took a bit of time off after Tokyo, did Littlehales, but he's back now and with a vengeance. Mateusz Survillo from Poland goes in 6. Jose Segura from Spain in 7. There he is. Manish Kaurav from Indonesia in 8. We should see, I hope we see Patrick O'Leary in 9, the Irish paddler. Yes, he's there, right at the bottom of your picture. There he is, approaching the start. Teammate Jenny Egan just missed out on the medals in the 5K last weekend. She was 4th there, she's hoping to go one better tomorrow. Now then, no Serhiy Yemelyanov, who's a Ukrainian world champion and Paralympic champion. Even sold some of his medals to donate the money to the Ukrainian cause. A real spokesman for the sport and for his country, Yemelyanov. And we're missing him today. But we do have a packed race nonetheless here. Ukraine, Hungary, Italy, Spain, Australia, Poland, Spain, Indonesia and Ireland. So a false start there, a little bit of early padding, 3, 4 and 5 I think. Don't know if 3 or 4 is going to get a false start for that. Really doesn't help to paddle before that boot goes down. It only pushes you back. And Juan Antonio Valle, well, he was the quickest in qualifying. He had a good qualification. Well, I think he got the false start. So what will he do now? He might just be that little bit more nervous. Well, he wasn't. He got away really well once again. Oh, no. Or did he? Well, this will be interesting because he certainly seemed to jump out the blocks the second time round, Juan Antonio Valle. I wonder, will he be the false starter? Let's see, let's just watch for the paddle strokes. No, actually looked like lane 2. Looked like lane 2 went first. Blinked first, Eric Kiss there. Well, finalist in the Paralympics, Eric Kiss. He is experienced, 8th place in Tokyo. So they're going to have to come round again. They're going to have to circle round. No John Tarrant in this final. British paddler just missed out in the final. Another developing Brit. Robert Oliver, of course, was the bronze medalist in Tokyo. So in Tokyo we had Serhiy Yemelyanov, Leonid Krylov and Robert Oliver picked up the medals. Dylan Littlehales, who is in this race, he just missed out. Juan Antonio Valle was 7th and Eric Kiss was 8th. That was the Paralympics, though. It was a long time ago.
Natomiast
These paddlers will have taken time off after that. It was a long, difficult season given COVID
Grzegorz Kotowy,
last year.
Dariusz Białkowski.
Some took part in the World Championships in Copenhagen. Juan Antonio Valle did because he was the bronze medalist. And Eric Kiss was 8th. But these Paracanoe events are ever developing. More people taking part, becoming closer, more competitive with every year. Which can only be a good thing for the development of this sport. And also what's great to see is more collaboration between Paracanoe and sprint canoe. Certainly it's happening in Great Britain, but other nations as well. Paracanoe, of course, such a broad spread of things that coaches and paddlers have to work on to get right. And sprint can learn from that, and vice versa, of course. So the paddlers just refocus again, concentrate on the process, step by step. The feel of the water, feel of the boot against the boat. Focusing on that first stroke, not thinking about the outcome. The final of the KL3 men 200 metres. We're underway, and Dylan Littlehale's in lane 5, the Australian. There he is in picture. He got away well, really looking good there, super smooth, but so is lane 6, the powerful Pole, Mateus Suvillo. He's putting Littlehales under pressure, and a high stroke rate from the false starting Spaniard, Juan Antonio Valle. Well, he's certainly up to speed now, isn't he? It was Valle and Littlehales with the quickest in qualifying, but these three, those two with the Polish athlete, but the best of the finish has to be Juan Antonio Valle. Yeah, great finish from him, and it looked like Littlehales and Suvillo take silver and bronze. So Spain, Australia and Poland looked like the medalists. So Juan Antonio Valle, took a while that, didn't it? He false started first time round. Then lane 2 false started. And this time it was a clean start, but it was Littlehales that leapt out of the start. He was leading to the halfway point. Just the Spaniard Valle. There you can see him in picture. Boat rocking and rolling, but it's moving with his stroke. Keeps the stroke rate nice and high, maintains the momentum, lunges a little bit early for the line, but he's done enough. Just ahead of Littlehales from Australia. And Suvillo making up the third and final podium position. And my mistake, it isn't Indonesia, it's India. I should have recognised that from the flag. Apologies to Manish Kaurav. India in 8th place there. You can see the confirmation of the results. Juan Antonio Valle from Spain in 1st, Dylan Littlehales from Australia in 2nd, and Mateus Suvillo from Poland in 3rd. Well, we go from Paracanoe to another ever-developing event, and this is the mixed K2 500 metres. That's right, men and women. You choose whether you put the man in front or the woman in front, and really interesting races. We've only seen these over the last few years, but last weekend in Račice in Czech Republic, we had some great racing. And I'm sure that we'll see some here. Now, we've only got the heats here. First to third to the final. And we have 2 heats. Experienced Anna Roxana Lahatchi, look at that in the front of that boat. And she with Timon Maurer, who's fantastic in the men's K1 500 meters semi-finals a little bit earlier on. So some interesting lineups here. We'll see Petter Menning as well in lane 5. He's going really well in crew boats generally, Petter Menning, and in his K1 200 meters. We see the Swedes are really trying to develop their crew boat paddlers, and this is a really good opportunity for them to do that. So we'll just take you through the lineup. So lane 1 will have Egypt, Samar Ahmed and Mohammed Ismail. Then the Australians in lane 2, Fletcher Armstrong and Georgia Sinclair. Austria in lane 3, Anna Lahatchi and Timon Maurer. And then in lane 4 we have Simon Schult Jensen and Emma Bock from Denmark, Julia Lagerstam and Peder Menning from Sweden in 5, Anastasia Bajuk and Dimitri Sosik from Serbia in 6, Ruth Vosselman and Albert Vlier from Netherlands in 7. First to third to final. About getting the start right. But 500 meters, so start important, but getting up to that race pace and working together is important. There's a different dynamic here, possibly different elements to the stroke. Power, phase, perhaps slightly different in these 2 strokes. Got to make it work together. And the Swedish crew actually looking really smooth there. Peder Menning does look like he's in form. He did in his K1. He's choosing to sit in the back and follow his teammate Julia Lagerstam, who's setting the rhythm. Now we can see that in lane 3 as well in picture. Anna Lahatchi, very experienced, paddles with Victoria Schwarz, has done for many years in K2 200 and 500, the Austrian. But this time round she's been backed up by Timon Maurer, a 22-year-old there who paddles so well in the semi-finals to go through to the final with a good chance of a medal actually in the K1 500 meters. So now these paddlers that are at the front of the picture, in the middle of your picture there, you've got the Austrians, the Danish and the Swedes. And they was just sort of perhaps backing it down a little bit. There's another 20-30 seconds to go now. And they want to be secure of their position, but they don't want to give too much away. And the Swedes with the Danes, well, just looking to try and perhaps smoothen it out. And the Swedish just look really, really good together, as if they paddled regularly. And I don't think they do, but they're just well drilled. Perhaps rocking and rolling just a little bit now, but that's enough for the Swedes to get through. Ooh, Australians put them under pressure, but Sweden, Denmark and Austria, it looked like going through to me. Obviously I have to wait for confirmation of that. Interesting that managed to get a bird to tweet every time that a paddler crosses the line, which is nice. So there we go, replay of that. A good start, in fact, really good start from the Serbians. But it was then the middle part of the race where the Swedes came through. 3 boats seemed to emerge, which was Austria, Denmark and Sweden. And it was Fletcher Armstrong and Georgia Sinclair who just put them under pressure right towards the end of that race. But it did look like Sweden, Denmark and Austria. We will see them in the finals tomorrow. Those finals will be in the second session tomorrow, about 12:30 local time. Well, it'll be interesting to see this event if it does develop. We've seen it in triathlon with the mixed relay. We've seen it in swimming, be really successful with a mixed relay at the Olympic Games. Who knows, we may well see this event. K4 would be interesting, actually, in the future, perhaps at the Olympics. So Sweden, Denmark and Austria, they're the three that go through to the final, which will be around about 12:30 local time tomorrow. We'll have a second and final heat coming up very shortly. Right, there we go. Now, we've got Sweden, USA, Canada, Turkey, Portugal, Spain, Australia again, and Denmark. Some strong squads there. Martin Natel from Sweden going really well in both his K1 and the K2. And the Swedes put together a very good K4 as well. And interesting that he's choosing to be in the front of that boat. So Sweden top of your picture. USA in lane 2, Canada in 3, Turkey in 4, Portugal in 5, Spain in 6, Australia in 7 and Denmark in 8. 3 to go through to the final. Lane number 5, we've got Teresa Portela and Fernando Pimenta, two very experienced paddlers. Portela perhaps best known over the 200-metre distance, Pimenta best known as multi-Olympic medalist over 1,000 metres. Look at that. Don't they look good? Really, really well drilled. Super smooth. That boat running well. With a big margin over the rest of the field. Alyssa Bull and Jackson Collins towards the bottom of your pitch. The Australians in 7. They'll be strong as well. Alyssa Bull just obliterated the competition last week in the Czech Republic over 1,000 metres in a K1. But she can stroke a K4. Sitting in the front there, left of your picture, just saying to the Portuguese, we're here, we're not far behind, you better keep going. And right at the top of your pitch, or towards the top of your picture, Martin Natel and Melina Anderson, watch out for them. So the Portuguese have chosen to put the man in second place. The Australians have done the same, but the Swedes have gone with Martin Natel in the front. So quite a good race here between the Portuguese and the Australians. Both looking very smooth, both maintaining the length in their stroke. Just maybe a bit twitchy now, but the Portuguese just dominated that race. Pimenta's used to doing that. They'll go through. There's the bird again, tweeting for us. And it's telling us that Australia takes second, and top of your picture, Sweden get third. And pretty much that race going to form, to be fair. Just see a replay of the start. Can't tell too much over the first few strokes, but as they build into it, Teresa Portela using that 200-metre speed, and Fernando Pimenta just crew boat excellence. He's been in the K4, he's been an Olympic medalist in the K2 before. He was a medalist, gold medalist in the K2 1,000-metre in the men's event last weekend. There he is in picture on your left. He's done everything. Just that Olympic gold eludes him. He's got a huge collection of medals, as Fernando Pimenta. It's great to see him keen to help develop some of the other paddlers in the Portuguese squad. There they are, look at the timing. Not just about the timing, it's the angles, the angle that the blade enters the water from this point of view, but also when looking from the side. And it's where they put the power into the stroke, both at the same time. And they're just going to head over to the pontoon. Maybe as a rehearsal for being interviewed after the final tomorrow if they win the gold medal, which may well happen. I wouldn't put it past them. 1:35 there. Teresa Portela from Fernando Pimenta in first for Portugal. Alyssa Bull, Jackson Collins from Australia in second. Martin Natel and Melina Anderson from Sweden in third, and we'll see them in the A final about 12:30 tomorrow. And as the light fades, and the only people left on the course are the final few races, the commentators, the judges and officials. I can see Fernando Pimenta's pretty happy with that, as is Teresa Portela. No pressure in this event. It's quite nice actually, because it's just an opportunity to enjoy themselves with half an eye on the fact that, well, in a couple of Olympic cycles this could be a big Olympic race. It has the potential. Bringing the two genders together, which is really nice, and something that canoeing have done so well over the last few years, bringing equality for both genders in across both Olympic disciplines, slalom and sprint. Same number of medals available, whether we're talking extreme slalom, or sprint canoe, or paracanoe, and that's great to see for Paris 2024 and beyond. And under the guidance of the new chair of the International Canoe Federation, Thomas Konechko, things are ever developing in sprint and slalom canoeing. And of course the other disciplines. There you go, there's the glass of water. And the Swedish and Portuguese paddlers will have a little warm down, I'm sure, before heading back to the hotel, refuel, get some good rest before tomorrow, because some of these paddlers are going to be extremely busy tomorrow. Might be a factor, actually. We've a lot of races tomorrow. Remember, this morning's finals should have taken place. Didn't because of the weather, so we've added them onto the programme from 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So certainly K4 paddlers. The K4 finals, which are two of the best finals that we'll see just after 8 o'clock local time tomorrow. A lot of those paddlers will be jumping into K4s, K2s and K1s as well. So we'll have a lot of paddlers that are doing a great deal of racing tomorrow, and it really will tax their endurance, not only their physical endurance, but also mentally as well. They have to go through the whole process of preparing themselves, using nervous energy, getting ready for their races, getting excited, getting nervous, trying to execute the race plan, warming up, warming down afterwards, flushing the lactic acid out of the system, refueling, rehydrating, going through the techniques again. And the great athletes like Fernando Pimenta and Teresa Portela will have done this all before, and they'll just take it in their stride. But for some of the new athletes, like the exciting young Dane that we'll see in the K1 500 metres, well, that's quite a new thing for them. So Thorben Rask, who's a very exciting paddler, you know, he'll have to just take this experience and use it for future years, because the weather can be pretty unpredictable in canoe sprint, and it may well happen at Olympic Games or even the World Championships in the future. Well, why am I still chatting to you, you ask yourself? Well, we've got 2 more races to go this evening. We've got about 20 minutes or so till the VL1 women final, and then the VL1 men final, and that rounds up our evening. So we had the 10 finals in Paracanoe categories, and we've had a lot of semi-finals, both K1 women, K1 men, and C1 women. And then tomorrow it's a packed day of racing. So we look forward to you joining us on Planet Canoe. You can join myself, Mally Johnson. I'll have a couple of guests with me tomorrow as well. Coverage starts at 8. We'll go 8 through to 10. We'll go 11 through to 1. And then we'll go from 2:15 to around about 4:30 for the 5,000 metre races. And I very much look forward to you joining me then. Well, for those of you still watching on Planet Canoe, we've got around about 10 minutes, just over 10 minutes until we start with the final two races of the day, which will be the VL1 women and VL1 men category. So I hope you'll stay with us to watch that. We'll have a little recap of some of the events that we've seen through the afternoon. Just saw some quite exciting mixed K2 500 meter events. Some great Paracanoe events. Of course, this is the only World Cup with the Paracanoe racing events in, and only opportunity for some of these paddlers to race internationally before they prepare themselves for the World Championships in Canada. And so really important for the Paralympic racers. So we'll be bringing you these races in around about 10 minutes time, the final of the VL1 for men and women. So before the final racing gets underway, we've got a medal ceremony. And this is the medal ceremony for the VL2 women 200 meters.
ICF Canoe Sprint and Paracanoe World Cup Poznan Poland 2022. Medal awarding ceremony. Winners of VL2 women 200 meters.
Puchar Świata w sprincie kajakowym i parakajakarstwie ICF Poznań Malta 2022. Zwycięzcy w kategorii VL2 kobiet 200 metrów.
Medals will be presented by Mr. Tomasz Koniecko, President of the International Canoe Federation.
So good to see Tomasz Koniecko, the new president of the International Canoe Federation, presenting the medals for this VL2 women.
Federacji Kajakowej oraz team leader Australii.
Third place and bronze medals, Paracanoe, India.
So third place goes to the Indian,
Trzecie miejsce
Paracanoe,
India.
Yeah, great for her, really great development. She's progressing well, makes her first major mark on the international stage, and we may well be seeing a little bit more of her in the future.
Canada.
Drugie miejsce, srebrny medal
Brianna Hennessy, a little bit more experience. She's been just outside the medals. Tokyo, she was 5th, but picking up the silver medal this time round. Great preparation for the World Championships in Halifax, first week in August.
First place and gold medal, Susan Seipel, Australia.
Susan Seipel from Australia.
Złoty medal, Susan Seipel, Australia.
Gold medalist for Seipel. She was silver medalist in Tokyo, was Susan Seipel. In this particular event. She's also raced in the kayak. Missed out on the medals, Paralympic medals in Tokyo there. But she'll be pleased with that. Great preparation as she continues through her season towards the World Championships. Well done to the VL2 women. Next we'll have the kayaks, and it'll be the KL2 men's medal ceremony. Well, still a bit of a breeze on the Malta lake here. You can see it builds as it comes down the lake. 2,000 metre course, of course, because it's regularly used for rowing as well as canoeing. But it's quite a wide lake in places, 450 metres in some areas. So if it is windy, that wind builds as it gets down to this end of the lake. So if you were to look to your left right now, all the way up, you would see the start of the 2,000 metres, which is where the rowers start. It's actually quite calm. And then the wind builds as it comes through and along the course, right the way to the finish line, which is to your right. Hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be a slightly lighter breeze tomorrow. We'll be able to get underway with racing right the way through the day. We certainly don't have a lot of room for postponing any races. We're an absolutely packed full schedule for tomorrow. Quite a brooding sky you can see overhead there. Heavily laden clouds. Hasn't been too much rain today. Not expecting too much tomorrow. We just hope for a little bit less wind.
Race number 112. 301 woman. 4 minutes. Race number 112. 301 women. 200 final. 3 minutes start. Lane for Germany. Lane 5 Poland. Lane Germany. Race number 1,000. Lane 5 Poland. Start. 2 minutes. 5, Poland. Come to the start.
So we are about to get underway with our final two races. This will be the Vase. We have 3 in this race. Esther Bode from Germany goes in 4. Karolina Bronovich from Poland in 5, and Lilimor Cooper from Germany goes in 6. It's the VL1. You see both VL1 in men and for women. This is a developing event. It's not Olympic. Paralympic, I should say. It is a developing event, which is what we want to see, of course, and we've seen that today. We've seen some paddlers in the Paracanoe race for the very first time on the international stage, and that's a really important experience for them, and I'm sure it will be the same here with Esther Bode, Karolina Bronovich and Lilimor Cooper. So the white flag is up. The boats are in the boots. We're ready to go with our penultimate race. No, we're not. Oh, that's unfortunate. In fact, Lilimor Cooper just put a hand up there just as they started them. So this racing in the Vase, you can see there, paddling on one side, left or the right, but only the single-bladed paddle. The outrigger, so popular, of course, in ocean racing. Used to good effect here in the VL1 category. These competitors have limited or no trunk function and no leg balance. So they're using their arms, they're using their shoulders to drive these boats forward. And it is lane 4. Esther Bode has almost got a boat length on Karolina Bronovich. Lilimor Cooper, she's switching hands. The German who's back in 3rd place at the moment. Good to see we've got good conditions for this. There's a light tailwind blowing as the paddlers now approach the last 30 meters of this race. The final of the VL Women 200 meters. It is going to be Esther Bode. She's another 10 or so strokes to go. And she gets over to the line now, doing a good job. Well done to her. 1st place. Silver. Going to Cooper. And bronze will go to Bronovich, the Polish paddler.
Control, 4, 6, 5 to boat control, please. 4, 6, 5
well, both
to boat control, please.
Teammates there delighted to get that race underway. Finally, after all the difficulty we've had yesterday and today with conditions, having a real challenge for these paddlers. They put that right out of their mind for this race. And these two Germans know each other well, and they've fought it out over 200 meters in this VL1 category. And it's Esther Bode who comes through on top, taking the gold medal. Teammate Lilimor Cooper in 2nd. Karolina Bronovich, the Polish paddler, takes the bronze medal. There you go, confirmation of the results, and very shortly we'll have the final of our slightly unusual afternoon stroke evening here in Poznan. And that will be the men's VL1 category. And in fact, paddlers are just lining themselves up now. Got about 100 meters to the start, just moving into position in this KL1 category.
Proszę Państwa, ceremonia dekoracji zwycięzców Pucharu Świata konkurencji KL3 mężczyzn.
Sorry, I said KL1, I meant VL1 category. My apologies. KL1 is a Paralympic event. The VL1 isn't at the moment. So in lane 4, we'll see the Italian, Alessio Bedin. Lane 5, from Chile, Robinson Mendez. Here he is. '38-year-old. And then Benjamin Sainsbury from Australia, on the right of your picture, goes in lane 6.
Puchar Świata w sprincie i parakajakarstwie ICF.
Second place and silver medal, Dylan Littlehales, Australia.
Drugie miejsce, srebrny medal Dylan Littlehales, Australia.
So, last race of the day before we turn our attention towards tomorrow's busy schedule of finals. You're with me, Mally Johnson, here on Planet Canoe. We're in Poznan, we're on the Malta regatta course, and we're about to get underway with the final of the VL1 men 200 meters. Italy's Alessio Bedin in 4. From Chile, Robinson Mendez in 5. From Australia, Benjamin Sainsbury goes in 6. Final of the VL1 men 200 meters. And a clean start for both of these paddlers. So it's the Chilean, there you can see in picture. He got away to a good stop, but really building now, having to switch hands to keep that boat running down the middle of his lane is Benjamin Sainsbury, the strong Australian. Using those long levers to good effect there, switches hands over to the left again to try and maintain the straight line. He's a real switcher. It's because he's got such a long stroke. Tends to steer that boat a little bit, but he's leading the way at the moment. You can see him in picture there. There he goes with the switch. If you do it quickly, you lose minimum amount of time. A lot of the slalom paddlers doing that these days, but less so the VAR paddlers in the sprint event. Just beginning to look ominous is the Italian Alessio Bedin to Sainsbury's left. I think he's got enough in the tank to take the win there. Benjamin Sainsbury, first place in the VL1 men category. Italy takes second, Chile in third. And a very pleased day's work for Benjamin Sainsbury. Winner in the VAR category, the VL1 category there. Well, replay of that particular race. Fairly clean and clear start. The left-hander Benjamin Sainsbury got away to the best start, but his switching did slow him down a little bit. Moving across, sometimes paddling from right, sometimes paddling from left, but he'd done enough to see him through in the final race of the day. There he goes, that distinctive Australian boat over the line, a length clear on the rest of the field. Alessio Bedin from Italy takes second, and Robinson Mendez from Chile takes third. So the final race of the day here in Poznan is a little bit later than we expected. Thank you for joining me. There we go, we got confirmation of that. The VL1 category, Australian's Benjamin Sainsbury first, Italy's Alessio Bedin second, Chile's Robinson Mendez is in third place. Well, just great to have some racing here on the Malta Regatta course. We've had to wait a long time for this, but it was great fun nonetheless. Thank you for joining me, Mally Johnson. I very much look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We'll be starting at 8 o'clock for a packed day of finals. See you then.